Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, How Birdie Helps You Master Care Planning. My name is Jasmine Chung, and on behalf of the Birdie team, I'm really excited to have you join us today. So if we go to the next slide, we have just a few housekeeping before we begin. This session will be 45 minutes long, and it is being recorded, so we'll send you a copy afterwards through email. Please feel free to submit your questions using the Q&A function in the chat at any time throughout this webinar. We will address as many as we can live, but for anything that we miss, we can put together a summary FAQ doc on care planning as part of our follow-up. I'd love to introduce our speakers for today. We are joined by Danielle Roberts, who is our Customer Success and Enablement Manager here at Birdie. She brings 9 years of experience from one of the UK's largest private home care providers and has supported numerous franchises with their care planning processes. We are also joined by Jo Barlow, who is a GP by background. She has been at Birdie as a product manager for the past 6 years, and she is now leading our AI team to develop innovative features and solutions. You might recognize her from our Smarter Care Lab under the microscope videos. And for today's agenda, we are going to explore the foundations of outstanding care planning. First, our product expert, Danielle Roberts, will dive into Birdie's structured approach, showing you how to get the very best out of the tools that you use every day. Then our product manager, Jo, will give you an exclusive first look at SmartPlans, our new AI-powered care assessment tool. And we'll finish it off with a live Q&A. So just a quick intro to Birdie. If you're new to us, how does Birdie help you work smarter, not just harder? The answer is in 3 key areas. So number 1, get everyone and everything working together. That's your connected system from care management to finance to rostering. Number 2, see everything and miss nothing. So this is referring to your data-backed insights through Birdie Analytics that will help you improve and also prove your quality to inspectors. And last but not least, number 3, never feel alone again. We have Flock, which is something you can all join for free today. It's our community-led safe space for providers with over 3,000 members. And there's lots of great conversations and resources that you can find over there. And all of this comes to life through Birdie's 5 core products, from care management to workforce management. Everything integrates seamlessly through 3 interfaces and is underlined by Birdie's 3 product promises. If we go to the next slide, our goal is to help you maximize the value of Birdie's care planning now and to prepare for the exciting enhancements that AI will bring. So let's get started, and I will hand it over to you, Danielle.
Thanks, Jasmine. Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle. Obviously, it's really great to be getting an opportunity to speak with you today. So we all know that you're living and breathing care planning in Birdie every day. We also know that one of the biggest challenges in care planning is making a structured system feel truly person-centered. So hopefully today, my goal is to show you how we master that balance using Birdie, and why getting that structure right is so critical for the safety and the quality of care for your clients. So just to help us understand a little bit about what's top of mind for you, we're going to run a quick poll. We'll just give you kind of 10 seconds or so to fill this out. When it comes to ensuring high quality care plans across your agency, what's the biggest challenge that you face? So is that lack of flexibility? Is it time consuming, the CQC compliance risk, or maybe it's all of the above? Great. So I think that we're there with that. So that's really, really helpful. So it looks like kind of time consuming care plan management is the one that's scored the highest there in terms of the poll, which is the key challenge for many of you. So that's really helpful to know. Hopefully we'll see today the benefits of Birdie's approach are designed to help with exactly all of these kind of challenges that we see here. So Birdie's care plans are built around 3 principles. They're structured but flexible, connected to daily care, and compliant by design. And together, they're what separates care plans that sit in a folder from one that actively drives care quality. This is only possible because Birdie is a single connected system where information syncs seamlessly, With everything in one place, your assessments connect to your carers' daily tasks and generate auditable insights along the way. So let's look at how Birdie solves these challenges in practice. The first challenge is creating person-centered plans that are also consistent and safe. The risk with traditional plans is that they're either too generic or so customizable and unstructured that the critical information can often get missed. Birdie's 8 core assessments give you a consistent baseline for every single client. At the same time, the free text fields and task notes give you the flexibility to capture the personal details that make a plan feel genuinely person-centered. The second challenge is time-consuming processes and poor visibility. Because Birdie is one connected system, information is entered once and instantly available to everyone, so you get immediate visibility. And because all your data is live and structured, we can provide powerful reporting like the Q score, which we'll take a little look at later. But your Q score is your monthly quality rating, giving you an objective measure of how good your care plans are without having to spend hours pulling lots of manual reports. And finally, this comes over to compliance. Every update in Birdie creates a time-stamped audit trail automatically, giving you total transparency and regulatory confidence. This gives you the confidence to evidence the quality of your care at a moment's notice without the headache. So today isn't just about kind of what the product does, because most of us might know that that's on the call today. It's about how we've seen some providers use it to reach and evidence outstanding quality care planning. Because CQC Outstanding isn't just about ticking boxes, inspectors want to see that you truly know the people that you support, that risks are actively managed, that care adapts in real time, and the big one, that you can prove all of that. So today I want to show you what that looks like in practice using Birdie and separates good from outstanding. So let's take you into the product and I'll show you what that looks like on one of our real dummy clients in our environment. So before we dive into the details, I want to draw your attention to something because this is where a lot of providers get it wrong. So a care plan that lives in a folder is not a care plan, it's a document. And outstanding providers build plans that genuinely use carers genuinely use on every visit. And that starts with truly getting to know the person. So the first thing that an inspector notices is whether your care plans reflect a real person or a list of tasks. And outstanding providers go deep here. So let's look at Margaret's profile. Using the About Me section, you can capture her preferred morning routine, how she likes to be addressed, her cultural background, what brings her joy, or even maybe what she's anxious about. And this level of detail you can capture here. It isn't just about good practice, it's what carers rely on so that the care can feel familiar and respectful at every single visit. And if your care plans don't read like they're about a real individual, then that's the first place for you to address. So now that we've established who Margaret is as a person, let's look at how that depth carries through to her assessments. Now let's look at the 8 initial assessments. Outstanding providers complete assessments consistently, not just at the start of care, but as an ongoing process. And in Birdie, we recommend that every core initial assessment area is covered before care begins. Let's take you inside one of these assessments to show you how it works in practice. So the structured questions mean that nothing gets missed regardless of who's completing the assessment. You're also able to expand on certain questions by using the additional details box, really capturing that vital information about your client. But it doesn't just stop with the initial assessments. What we see with outstanding providers is that they go beyond the core 8 assessments and they use the additional assessments where relevant. So we have a list of additional assessments here that you could be prompted to based on the information that you give on the 8 initial. And with our outstanding providers, what we also see is that they really go in on the detail here. So they complete these assessments with lots of rich information about their client to really support the delivery of that care. Now that we have all of the assessments, but that's not enough. What really sets providers apart is how they use assessments to capture meaningful outcomes. Outcomes are where outstanding providers really differentiate themselves. Okay, and we'll take a look at this here. So inspectors don't just want to see that your tasks are completed, they want to see that care is making a difference. Outstanding care plans include meaningful, person-centered outcomes. For Margaret, that might be maintaining her confidence, preparing her own breakfast, or keeping up her weekly phone call with her daughter. Alongside these outcomes, we can actually see as well how risks are identified and managed. And we can do all of that in the one assessment and go and track it all together. So we're in the personal care assessment here. And we can really see, if we open up this assessment around bathing and showering, and we can see that Margaret's risk assessments have been completed. There's a clear risk level. The risk has been identified. And then we have very clear steps on how we can mitigate this risk. And all of this is available for our carers to read through as well. So inspectors want to see that risks are understood and managed, not just recorded. Okay, great. So we've built some really great foundations here. So let's look at how that all translates into the day-to-day reality for our carers. So in Birdie, assessments do feed into tasks, person-generated tasks that guide our carers through their activities using their mobiles. Birdie does use structured task titles, but before the structured titles were brought in, we saw that agencies were creating their own free text titles, leading to thousands of inconsistent variations. You'd end up with task titles like assist with the laundry and also hang out the washing, meaning exactly the same thing. It would create duplicates, typos, and just tasks in the wrong categories. So what it's meant by having structured titles, we've eliminated the chaos and we ensure that every task is clearly defined and consistently understood across the team. But you might be wondering, Danielle, you're harping on about kind of person-centeredness. If Birdie uses structured titles, then how is it that I make them feel personal? So this is where the details box comes in. So let's look at Margaret's assist with exercise. A carer walking into a visit for the first time should be able to read the task detail and feel confident delivering that visit with the same quality and personal touch as someone who's known the client for months. That's the standard that Birdie's designed to enable and rich task notes and the mechanism that make it possible. Now, the question to ask yourself is, if a bank carer was to come in tomorrow with no prior knowledge of Margaret, could they deliver great care just from what's in Birdie? If the answer is yes, you're in outstanding territory. If not, then that might be your gap. Now let's look at how that plays out in a real visit and how Birdie helps you track whether care is actually making a difference. So progress is tracked in Birdie by our amazing carers who are out there on the ground delivering great quality of care and are feeding back to you what is happening by using their activity notes and observations. So then you can track if an outcome is drifting off track, you know early, and you can evidence your response. And that's really the difference between being reactive and proactive care. So being able to evidence that responsiveness is exactly what the next solution is about. Now, one of the most common gaps I think that we see, even in good providers, is the review cycle. So outstanding providers review their care plans regularly. They document what's changed, and we can see a clear history of responsiveness. And in Birdie, every change you make is timestamps and it's attributed. Inspectors can see when Margaret's plan was reviewed, what had changed, and who signed it off. And that's not just compliance, that's evidence of genuine oversight across your agency. You can also zoom out from individual clients to see this picture across your whole organisation. So we have the Q score, which gives you organization-wide view of where your clients' plans are. Kind of go away today and take a look and see what your score is if you haven't looked at this before. But it'll show you where your kind of areas that are strong, and then also where they might need attention, so you're never caught off guard. So that's it for my demo today. I think I just want to take a moment to kind of recap on what we've covered there and where the fundamentals are of that. So following that, what does outstanding look like in practice? It looks like care plans that read like they're about a real person, risks that are actively managed, not just listed, outcomes that are meaningful and tracked, plans that are reviewed and updated as life changes, and an audit trail that tells a clear, confident story to anyone who looks. Birdie gives you the infrastructure to get there, but the question is how consistently your teams are using it. So I'd encourage you to pick 2 or 3 client profiles once you're back in Birdie, maybe along with your peers as well, and review some of your care plans. Ask yourself, if an inspector was reading this, would they feel like they knew the person? Would a bank carer know exactly what to do if they'd never met that client before? And then that's your benchmark. What questions do you have, and where do you feel like your biggest gap is? So you don't just have to take my word for it. We've asked Andy from Belong at Home, one of our partners, to share his experience with using Birdie for care planning.
Hi, I'm Andrew Shield, Head of Operations for Belong at Home. We're a non-for-profit organisation with home care services across the Northwest, supporting people to live independently in their own homes. We've been using Birdie now for just over 12 months. Birdie's approach to care planning has really helped us at Belong at Home create care plans that are both consistently safe, genuinely person-centred. The structure within the system is clear and it's easy to follow, so every care plan covers key information like risks, medication and mobility without anything being missed. At the same time, Birdie's made it simple to capture what really matters to each individual, such as their routines, preferences, and what good care looks like to them, instead of it feeling like a checklist. Since using Birdie for care planning, we have seen some clear improvements over the last 12 months, particularly around the time that's saved when creating and updating care plans. The structured care plan make the prompts, make the process quicker and more streamlined, so staff do focus more on supporting customers rather than admin. Birdie's care plans really help us to evidence the quality of support that we provide, ensuring that the services are inspection ready. Because the plans are structured and consistently laid out, it's easy for inspectors to see how we assess needs, manage risk and personalise care for everyone. The real-time updates are a major benefit. Any changes in a customer's needs, risks or preferences are recorded instantly within the system, so we can clearly show an inspector a full audit trail of what changed, when it changed and how we responded, and transparency is exactly what they're looking for. If I was going to recommend Birdie's care planning to somebody in the health and social care sector, I'd probably say it's probably been one of the most intuitive and impactful systems that we've used in Belong at Home. The platform has a balance between safety and personalisation. It guides you through essential tasks and risk areas, whilst also giving you the flexibility to capture what really matters to each individual. Care plans take less time to build, updates are instant, and the visibility across the teams is excellent. So everybody works from the same up-to-date information, which is essential in a home care service.
Amazing. Thanks, Andy. So we can see that mastering the structured approach is key to unlocking not only exceptional care now, but also the future of care. So that consistent, reliable data we saw today is the essential ingredient for what comes next. And I'll hand you over to Joe to show you the incredibly exciting future where you're helping us build. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Danielle. Great to meet you all. So Danielle just gave us the blueprint for a great person-centered care plan. Structure is the essential foundation for everything that comes next. It's what allows us to build tools that make your life easier and your care even safer. Now, we're going to look at the next step built upon that foundation, how we can use AI to help you with the processes. Because even with the perfect blueprint, we know the process of filling out care plans is incredibly tough, especially during the initial care consultation. It's time-consuming, it can be inconsistent, and it's just plain difficult to do well. We're trying to build a human connection while also remembering every single question you need to ask for compliance. Now, before talking about using AI to help with this challenge, I know AI can bring up a lot of different feelings. To get a sense of where everyone is at, please answer our next poll. When you think about AI being used in care planning, what is your first reaction? Is it excitement, Are you hopeful? Are you skeptical? Is there some caution? Or are you feeling quite curious about it? Great. So it sounds like there's a mix there of hopeful and excitement, which is great to hear and super insightful for us. And it's totally understandable. But it's also important and that we're really clear about our approach. We've explored the use of AI to help solve these care planning challenges, but we've done it in a very careful and safe way. We believe AI in care should work the way care professionals work, transparently, collaboratively, and accountable to the people it serves. Our entire approach is guided by a simple philosophy: AI in plain sight. First, AI must be visible. We will always show you where AI is working and what it's doing. No hidden processes. This also means its impact should be clear to the whole circle of care, not just the care manager, but the carer and client. Second, it must be explainable. We believe that if you can't understand the role of AI in your work, we shouldn't be using it. It needs to be simple and transparent. And most importantly, it must be controllable. AI can suggest and support, but the final decision must always stay in human hands where it belongs. You are always in control. And it is with this philosophy in mind that I'm incredibly proud to introduce SmartPlans. SmartPlans is our answer to the challenges of the initial care consultation. The idea is simple. What if we could turn your conversations directly into the structured assessments that Danielle just highlighted? SmartPlans does the heavy lifting for you. It listens to your consultation and intelligently suggests how to complete the assessments in Birdie, saving you time and ensuring consistency. So let me show you how it works. Great. So what you'll be able to see here is the Birdie app. So we've built SmartPlans directly into Birdie. And you can see in the top left-hand corner, there's a microphone. And at this point, when you're meeting the client, you just select the meeting type of care assessment, and then you would move on to select the client. In this case, it's going to be Arthur Smith. So you're with Arthur Smith in his home. You click on Next. And then because this is embedded deeply into Birdie, this recording will go directly to Arthur's record, so we ask you to double check. Then you test the microphone to make sure that everyone's voices are being picked up so we don't waste your time. And then you essentially just start recording of the meeting. You click on record and then you ask everyone to introduce themselves. I'd say my name is Joe, and that helps us glean context from the recording, but it also helps us understand who's saying what. It's really important for the transcript and then the following suggestions. This point in time, you're leaving the phone with the client and you're just recording it while you're really focusing on a person-centered conversation. You don't have to worry about scribbling down notes. You can pause the consultation if you so wish, and then you literally just leave the phone there recording. You can background the app in case you need to look at something, but you don't need to worry about the recording. You really are just really focusing on that, building that rapport and building that trust. This moment in time, when you finish, you save the recording and we upload the file directly to the agency hub. And that's where the real value of integrating this into the Birdie product comes. Then the next thing that we will do is we then imagine that you are on your way back from doing the consultation with your client. And you're navigating to the agency hub. And the first thing that you do is you access Arthur's record. So this is Arthur Smith's care plan, and you can see a lot of similarities to what Danielle's just showed here. We've embedded the AI suggestions deeply into the product. The first area I'd like to sort of draw your attention to is the transcript section. So you can see here the voice recording that you've just done. It's visible who uploaded it, and then all you need to do is click on View. At this point, the transcript will load and you'll be able to see who attended the meeting, and you'll be able to see a written transcript of the recording. This is a great record for CQC that the assessment took place, and for 60 days you can listen back to the recording to clarify anything you need as you write the care plan. Then I'll take you through the initial assessments that Danielle's been talking about. So let's imagine that we want to complete the nutrition and hydration assessment because we can see that there are suggestions available. You click on the assessment, and as you would normally do, you start it. And then there's two things you can immediately see here. The first is we've highlighted an answer for a structured answer, but we've also created a suggestion for the additional details. What's really important to call out here, and I mentioned earlier, is that we don't complete this care plan for you. That's for you to do. All we do is we support you and we suggest things, but you're fully in control. You can either select the answer that we have suggested, or you can equally choose something else, whatever feels representative of the conversation. You can also see here that we have some free text answers. Again, what we've tried to do is make this as person-centered as possible. We've tried to use the voice of the client. We also try and make this as transparent as possible as well, and you can see any relevant quotes that pertain to that question in the right-hand side. If you're happy with this and you think you agree with it, you then click on Add, and at this point you can tweak the answer as much or as little as you so wish. What we've also done is baked in clinical safety from the ground up. So we've triaged all of the questions in all of the assessments. And for those which could have a negative impact on a client's health or well-being, we won't answer those or create suggestions. What we will do is we will flag this. We'll offer you as much context as we can. So we might allow you can view the transcript, and wherever it's pertinent, we will show you quotes. We'll allow you to copy and paste into the additional details box, or you have full control over the answers to these more clinical questions. And then you would just work your way through the care plan. Work through this nutrition and hydration assessment as you see fit, adding, dismissing, however you see fit. You are always in control of these answers. And then when you've finished, you click on Submit. At this point, you'll see the assessment appear in the previous assessments, which is how it usually works. And what you'll see as well is that the suggestions disappear, and you are now the author of this assessment. It's like the AI didn't exist. You are always in control of the care plan that comes out. We also cover the client information. So you can see in personal identity, we offer suggestions here. And we also cover the basic information. So you can add suggestions into this as well. And finally, if I just go into the care plan and you look at the additional assessments, we also cover some of those. So you'll see here that dysphagia and end-of-life assessments have got suggestions available. You just select those and add them, and then complete them as you would the other 8 initial ones. But also finally, you'll see that there are certain assessments that we will not offer suggestions for because they're too clinical in nature. There's too much nuance in the conversation for us to be able to suggest answers to things such as mental capacity. Obviously, you'll be able to complete them yourselves, but there will not be any AI support for those because of the consequences of getting it wrong. Great. So that's the end of the demo. What we'll then do is, so really, what does this mean for you today? The most important thing to know is that this is not a system change. SmartPlans is an enhancement that builds on the Birdie you already use. The most practical step you can take is to double down on the practices that Danielle shared. The more comfortable your team becomes with creating great care plans now, the more prepared they will be to take full advantage of SmartPlans when it arrives. And this is truly just the beginning. SmartPlans is our first step towards a more proactive future, unlocking tools that can surface emerging risks and deeper insights into care quality. Now I'll hand back to Jasmine to wrap things up.
Great. Thank you so much, Jo. So yeah, everyone, please get ready for SmartPlans. I'm seeing some comments in the chat asking when it will be live. So SmartPlans will be launching later this year. We're giving you the first opportunity to join the wait list to be the first to know when it's available. So you can scan the QR code on the screen or follow the link that we're about to post in the chat. Another way that you can stay up to date is to check out Birdie's Smarter Care Lab, where you can hear the latest updates on product development and how our team is developing them kind of behind the scenes. So that's Birdie's Smarter Care Lab. And we will also be at the Care Show in London at the end of this month. So please come and visit our stand for a live demo and a chat with our AI team. So now moving on to our Q&A, we've got some time for questions, plenty of time. As a reminder, you can submit them through the Q&A box in the chat. And I can see there's been a lot coming through already. Let's see if I can show them on the screen. I think this was a good one, maybe for Danielle to take a look at. Let's see if this shows up. Ooh, let's see if I can read this. kind of about, we were told when we first started using Birdie not to put all details within the core assessments, but to put these details in the tasks. So kind of just seeing what is the best kind of advice given now, please.
Yeah, sure. What I went through today, like in terms of the initial like assessments, if we think about those, they're structured needs and risk assessments. So that's what our carers need to really understand and get to know the client. Then they'll use the task planner so that they can understand then, okay, how is it that I support this client in terms of, assisting with exercise? How do I prepare the breakfast that, that works for them? That's the type of detail that we'd see in the task planner, more around the instructions to deliver the care. And then in the structured needs and risk assessments, actually, how have you assessed that need? How have you mitigated that risk? And that's, definitely how it should be structured. We don't want to see lots of duplication. I can understand how it can be a bit difficult to think about that, but that's the way to separate the two, I would say.
Great, thanks, Danielle. And we do have a question that's just come in about how's it best to document an outcome. And Natalie has a lot of clients who have ongoing outcomes, such as maintaining mobility. However, the outcome section works with dates, so it kind of seems like it can never be completed. Oh, let me keep showing it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think with outcomes, like ultimately, we'll see outcomes progressing as we go through service reviews and QAs with our clients when we reassess our clients again, because ultimately that's what we're doing. But also the use of like observations and task notes from our carers around how those outcomes have been achieved directly through the care that's being delivered by our carers. That's a great way to evidence how we're achieving the outcomes for the client. There's also loads of reports available on Looker where you can see kind of observations and general notes that have been submitted by carers. You can look at it on a mass level instead of having to go into every individual client or look at all the visits individually. You could look at that on a report, and that's what I would do.
Great, thanks, Danielle. Is there, I'm going to show one from Stephanie. Is there somewhere we can document re-ablement success? For example, reductions in POC and goals being met and any tracking progress?
So with that, if you don't find that there's enough kind of detail in the initial assessments, you are able to track things in the documents area. And I know I mentioned, a care plan. I'm not saying that you should have everything in there, but client-specific documents, if it's not part of the structure that already exists in Birdie, that's what the flexibility of the documents area gives you. So you're able to actually generate what works for you, actually it's quite specific with re-ablement teams as well and what they want to see and what they want you to evidence. So it's really hard for us at Birdie to build something super structured around that and place it in. So I would suggest actually utilising that documents area. You can toggle on and off for a carer, so whether it needs to be visible to a carer or not. I would just say make sure you give it a really good title. Don't make that area a bit of a document dumping ground. Keep it really up to date with the most relevant documentation that if an inspector was to come and see you and they're able to look in that section and know exactly what it is that they want to find.
Great. Excuse me. Thank you. Maybe we can ask some questions about AI for Joe. So let's see. I think there were some questions maybe about pricing that we can just kind of blanket, let everyone know, Joe, kind of where we are in the process.
Yeah, sure. So the product's only in alpha at the moment. We know that there will be an additional cost because there are costs for us as well. But we are sort of working out the pricing as we go along. As soon as we know anything, we'll obviously share that with you. But it's a work in progress at the moment.
And then, excuse me, for, I guess, SmartPlans AI assistance pending, will this load in low mobile network coverage areas?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really aware that not everyone has perfect Wi-Fi or internet access as they do these recordings. So it's why we built it directly into the app to take advantage of the offline abilities. So you can record the conversation while you're offline. And as soon as you hit the internet, we'll then upload the file to the agency hub. We just need the internet for the upload, not for the recording.
Great. And then another question for SmartPlans about how not every client has maybe strong verbal skills. How does AI assist with care planning in such cases while ensuring it doesn't misinterpret kind of inaccurately document the client's needs.
Yeah, absolutely. What we've learned so far is that often in these conversations, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there's sometimes a next of kin who's also super helpful in this. The other option is that the person doing the assessment could maybe confirm and sort of speak out what they have interpreted from the client as well, to make sure that it accurately represents what the client is trying to express.
And, I think I just showed the wrong one. Sorry, it's moving around. I think there was a question about, can you access the assessments while recording? Let me stop sharing this one.
So you can use your phone as you're doing the recording. You can back around it. You can use the phone as you normally would like to. It's key that you probably keep it nearer to the client because they tend to be quite quiet. But whatever you have on your phone, you can access. If you want to use the agency hub to access those assessments, you can do that.
Great. And this might be a question for Danielle about the outcomes that's in beta, about how to use that evidence to track progress, and having it being directly linked to care plans.
Yeah, I think that feature, the phrase that we use next to beta, is that it isn't fully launched. If you have got that on and you are using it, use our product board to give us feedback about it. We're always iterating on the product, and I would say, like, we can take that to the product team, give us as much information on it as possible if you are using it. But it is kind of an earlier stage feature that we're working with.
Great. Let's see. I did see a question kind of asking about when Birdie will support AI features for care plans. If this is referring to SmartPlans, as we mentioned, the launch date will be happening later this year. And again, please join the waitlist, and we will reshare the link again at the end. And that's the best way to stay up to date. Let's see if there's any other questions we can answer. Let's see. How do you access beta? I'm not sure if this might be referring to maybe SmartPlans. If Joe, or
I think it might be outcomes.
Oh, outcomes, yes.
I think with that, you could reach out to the support team and let them know that you're interested in looking at this feature. They'll outline what it is that the feature does. Go to our Help Center article, search up Outcomes Beta, have a little read about it, see if it's something that you think would work for you, with the caveat that it is still in an early stage in terms of a feature. Then just reach out to the support team on the chat, ask them for it, and they can turn the feature on.
Great. Thanks, Danielle. And for Joe, what training is provided to ensure staff use the AI safely and effectively? Is the interface intuitive for busy care staff who may not be tech savvy?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of training so far, face-to-face. That might change as the product evolves. But we have had really positive feedback. We've invested as much as possible into making this a simple and intuitive experience. You can see from the demo that it's all sort of in the care plans that you know and like using. And so we've really focused on ease of use and clarity and transparency, offering those quotes so you can see what's happening on in the background and giving you as much context to make those decisions. So there will be training indeed, but we also help that the usability of the product speak for itself to enable people to use it easily.
Great. And will we eventually be able to use recording to fill in care notes?
It's a great question. It's absolutely sort of something that I've been thinking about. There are some technical limitations to be able to do that at the moment, but it is absolutely within sort of our vision of the product to be able to support people to use voice to complete their notes in the future.
Great. Thanks, Joe. And maybe a question for Danielle. We saw some about people wanting to make sure other docs are visible on the app. Could you kind of walk us through how they might be able to do that?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. I'm going to steal the screen.
Yeah.
And a little bit about where I scared you about the area before, but we're going to be in care plans. And in terms of any additional documents that you have, kind of that you've built yourself, or any condition specific assessments, you're able to use this document section down here. You can just drag and drop, or you can upload from here. And then what you're able to do is also toggle them on or off. And so if it's off, carers won't be able to see it in their app under the document section. If it's on, they're able to see it. So I would just say that this is a living area. It's not document storage. So if you have done a new condition specific assessment, or had something from the Enablement team, or, you know, the district nurses have given you that care plan or information you need, always keep it super up to date in here. So the inspector should be able to look in here and it's only the up to date information. You should have a OneDrive or cloud-based solution where you save historic documentation in there. So this is only to reference back. This is the only live stuff that we want to see.
Great, thanks for walking us through that, Danielle. There were also a lot of questions about kind of tailoring assessments. Wanted to get your view on that.
Yeah, I think as we've talked about today, like the beauty of a structured needs and risk assessment has allowed us to branch out into AI. I don't know if that's forever, but for right now, like if you have got specific assessments that you need to complete, like there is an area for you to save those down. There shouldn't be a reason why you can't use the structured initial assessments and additional assessments. Have a look at that suite of additional assessments if you haven't looked at them before. It might be that you're getting what you need from there. But in terms of like super customizable ones, very specific to a client, I think a lot of complex and clinical care clients will probably see condition specific ones that don't always fit in the boundaries that the Birdie assessments give you. And that's where you would utilize that documents area. It's super hard to kind of find a balance between structured data and meeting the needs of everyone in the care sector, because we know it's very different depending on the type of services you provide. So we've tried to kind of meet in the middle somewhere, structured data, but still an area for you to kind of upload specific kind of tailored assessments. So I hope that helps.
Great. Thanks, Danielle. Let's see, a question about AI. Regarding using AI, would the recording work a bit like an interpretation of what was said? So could it take things out of context, a bit like how predictive text works?
So we transcribe word for word the conversation. There's no interpretation there. We have told AI to just take it word for word. We tell it not to hallucinate, not to infer. And then when it comes to suggestions, again, we have very tight guardrails around what the AI can and cannot do. So if we tell it exclusively not to make things up. It's got to be based on fact and grounds in fact. And so we have indeed put those guardrails around it.
And then I finally found this question. How will SmartPlans work with clients who don't speak English?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, one of the restrictions is that someone representing the client or the client themselves need to speak English. We do deal with accents, of course, but there's no translation available yet. It is something that we're definitely considering because we do understand there is many languages being spoken in the social care sector. So we're super aware of that. But right now, it's just English.
Maybe one for Danielle. According to CQC requirements, does the care plan need to be completed in first or third person?
I think that's like difficult for me to answer because I'm not a quality and compliance person. I'm here to coach you through kind of like how to use Birdie to achieve the best outcome. If you're unsure, there's a lot of articles on the CQC website that will guide you through the type of content you should be putting in there. And I think it is sometimes inspector specific on who inspects you at that time. So seek guidance directly from the CQC, I would suggest.
Great, thank you. I think we'll take one more question that just got snuck in. From Johanna, is there a time limit on how much can be recorded on SmartPlans?
There we say sort of up to 4 hours of recording is probably what we'll be able to record. What we've heard so far is that a lot of the consultations are significantly shorter than that, but we do enable up to 4 hours.
Great. Thank you both, Joe and Danielle. I think that's all the time that we have for today. Lots of great questions that have come in. Again, a huge thank you to our speakers, and thank you all for joining us. Please, again, refer to this QR code, the links, stay up to date on SmartPlans, but also on anything else that's launching at Birdie through the Smarter Care Lab. If we didn't get to your question, we will put it through that summary FAQ doc.